For the past 4 months, I've been on a quest to lose my circuit breaker weight, which means I need to reduce the amount of sugar I take, be it cutting down on foods like these, or adding less sugar to my beverages. The good news? I realize there are now plenty of sugar substitutes. We have stevia, agave, and something called aspartame. All these sweeteners claim to leave a sugary taste without adding to my waistline. In this episode, I want to know just how healthy and effective a replacement these sugar substitutes really are and which one is best for me. It was not too long ago when sugar substitutes were consumed mainly by people who suffer from diabetes because they need to manage their blood sugar levels. But with Singaporeans like me becoming more health conscious, I wonder if these substitutes have become more mainstream. I'm meeting market analyst Adriana Chia, someone who has tracked the sugar substitute market for over 17 years.
In Singapore, we did see a 13% growth in sweeteners. So it really just points to me that consumers in Singapore are looking out for alternatives. They're just not confined to the coffee or tea that we drink. They're already in our carbonated soft drinks and ready to drink drinks. There is a 12% growth for the carbonated soft drink with no sugar, Coke with stevia.
But wait, let's take a step back. What exactly are sugar substitutes? Well, they're essentially food additives that provide a sweet taste and can be broadly categorized into two groups. Natural like stevia, monk fruit, agave, and honey. They're all derived from natural sources like plants and fruits. Then you have sugar substitutes which are artificial with chemical sounding names like aspartame, saccharin, and sucralose. These are artificially synthesized using labs and machinery. I want to know which I should be using, natural or artificial sugar substitutes. And helping me to do this is Chef Delcy. Chef Delcy creates sweet treats we're all familiar with, except she doesn't actually use sugar in these. Hi Delcy, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Oh my goodness, look at all these cakes. They're all sugar-free?
Yes, let me tell you about it. Come, let's go in.
Okay, they're sugar-free, guys, come on. So Delcy, I've seen your cakes and I can't believe they don't have sugar in them. So what do you use?
We use a range of natural sweeteners like agave syrup.
This is agave syrup.
So agave syrup is a type of fructose. So it has a low GI of about 15 to 19 depending on sources. GI is glycemic index, is a number that is being pegged to any form of food to measure how fast your blood sugar rise after consuming it, which means that the food that you're eating is slowly being absorbed. That might make you feel fuller longer.
Okay. And what about here?
So we also have monk fruit. This is actually luo han guo. You can get them at traditional Chinese TCM shops.
Can you get monk fruit in other forms besides syrup?
Yeah, so in a powder form, mixed with stevia.
Speaking of stevia, can you explain what stevia is?
So stevia is actually extracted from a plant, a leaf, and that's where all the sweetness come from and then processed into a granular form.
I noticed they're all natural substitutes and there are no artificial sweeteners here. Why is that?
Artificial sweeteners, they don't really bake very well in cake making. It does make the cake more dense, more gluey. Another point is that chemical sweeteners, they are not really very healthy for our body. Based on my research, it's cancer causing.
Chef Delcy isn't the only one who has concerns over artificial sweeteners. In 2018, researchers from the Nanyang Technological University discovered that artificial sweeteners may be harmful because they destroy the good bacteria in our intestines, which prevents us from digesting our food easily. I did a search and found out that there are more than 200,000 academic studies on artificial sweeteners. Some of these older studies in the 1970s found a link between artificial sweeteners and bladder cancer. More recently, there are concerns that these artificial sweeteners may increase our craving for sweet foods because they trick the body into thinking there is no link between sugary food and calorie intake. Now, a lot of these studies are still inconclusive, but they are enough to make some people stay away from artificial sweeteners. I want to know how concerned we should be about them. I'm meeting Dr. Abel So. For over 15 years, he has been closely monitoring how much and what kind of sugar substitutes his diabetic patients are taking. Okay, so there are some concerns that artificial sweeteners are bad for us. Are they?
Well, bad news about artificial sweeteners actually started way back in the 1970s and 80s, where there are studies of artificial sweetener use in animals that actually showed that the animals developed cancer. But subsequent studies that were done in humans, there hasn't been any conclusive evidence that artificial sweeteners cause cancer in humans. So that's why many of the food regulatory agencies in many countries still approve the use of artificial sweeteners.
So is there any big difference between artificial sweeteners and natural sweeteners?
To classify them under artificial and natural would be not a good way to differentiate them. Let's look at artificial sweeteners. So sweeteners like aspartame, saccharin and sucralose are termed as artificial sweeteners. They should be also termed as non-caloric sweeteners because they do not contain any calories or sugars. Sweeteners like stevia and monk fruit extract, which are natural sweeteners, they are also non-caloric sweeteners. When we look at natural sources of sweeteners, sweeteners like honey and agave nectar are caloric-containing sweeteners.
So honey and agave have calories in them.
Yes.
So where do the calories come from?
So the calories come from the natural sugars. They may be a little bit healthier in the sense that a natural sweetener like honey has some antioxidants as well. Unfortunately, the amount of antioxidants in honey is actually very little and you would have to consume a huge quantity of honey just to get a certain amount of antioxidants, and of course that would mean a lot of sugar addition.
Which would defeat the purpose.
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so I'm very confused as to which ones to choose to lose weight, whether I should choose artificial sweeteners or natural sweeteners.
So if you want to lose weight, of course, taking non-caloric sweeteners that doesn't contain any calories would be beneficial.
Natural sweeteners like honey and agave nectar are often believed to be a healthy option because of their natural origins. But these options have more calories than your regular white sugar. Instead, most of us should be picking non-caloric options like stevia or aspartame. But is the switch from sugar to non-caloric sweeteners an easy one, especially when it comes to taste? I'm looking for the perfect sugar substitute, one that doesn't add to my waistline but tastes similar to sugar. So far, I found that non-caloric sugar substitutes such as stevia, monk fruit and aspartame are the healthier option because they have 0 calories. But they come at a cost. On average, these non-caloric sugar substitutes are priced 90 times more than a packet of regular white sugar. 40 tons of non-caloric sugar substitutes were consumed in Singapore over the past 10 months. And you know what? A lot of this demand is actually driven by soft drink giants. They use non-caloric sugar substitutes for their healthy options. Labels like 0, less sweet, or reduced sugar They all contain non-caloric sugar substitutes. The thing is this, most of us have drank the reduced sugar version of soft drinks, and it sure doesn't taste the same. If using different sugar substitutes means I would get a different taste, then I want to know which sugar substitute has the closest taste to normal sugar. I'm enlisting the help of tea sommelier Dave Lim. Today, he has prepared 6 pots of tea for me to try. 5 with zero-calorie sugar substitutes such as aspartame, monk fruit extract and stevia, and 1 with regular sugar.
So we've got 6 sweeteners here. The first one is sugar. Then from this point onwards, the other 5 are sugar substitutes without calories. But we start with the tea without any sugars. Flora, fragrant, elegant.
Could use some sugar.
If that's the case, we try this. This has got sugar.
Yeah, that does taste like tea with sugar in it. All right, now let's go into all these sweeteners. This one tastes like a little bit more bitter.
Astringent, a bit dry. And the answer is monk fruit.
Monk fruit.
Monk fruit is 150 times sweeter as compared to sugar.
And yet when we mix it in with the tea, the sweetness doesn't come out. But instead it brought out the astringent flavor.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that's what I'm looking for. All right, let's move on to the next one. This is sweeter. This is more towards my liking. Sweeter but with a bitter aftertaste.
This is what I taste as well.
Ah, stevia, that's natural as well. Okay, moving on. This just tastes very sweet.
Yeah.
Well, sweet, but I don't taste the flavor
The
of the
aroma
tea.
of the tea, not strong anymore.
Yeah.
The original flora notes, the fruity notes, not very.
Yes.
This is your
This-
aspartame.
Aspartame.
So aspartame is 200 to 300 times sweeter than sugar actually.
Okay, well, I'm excited for the next one.
Sweet, right?
Sorry, wow, that was really sweet.
This is just 1 gram
That's
in
a-
150 ml. 1 gram.
That's a bit too sweet for me. Ah, sucralose.
If it's warm, you could taste a bit of a chemical at the back actually.
Last but not least, this one just tastes, I don't know, it tastes a bit artificial, a little bit metallic. Saccharin, oh I see.
So this one is very sweet. This is like 400 times as compared to sugar, but it always leave a metallic, bitter aftertaste.
So in my opinion, saccharin was the most negative tasting one because it leaves a metallic taste. My favorite is still stevia. Yeah, because it's sweet, it has that little aftertaste, but I can still taste the tea. Even though stevia tastes closer to a cup of tea with sugar than any of the other sugar substitutes, I can still taste the difference, making it a less than ideal option. Now, apart from stevia or monk fruit, you're not going to find any of the other strange sounding chemical names on your supermarket shelves. If you want saccharin, sucralose or aspartame, you're going to have to look at the ingredients list of your sugar substitute and choose the one with your favorite ingredient. I've tasted all kinds of sugar substitutes, and while they help me with my weight, they aren't the real deal. So if I do need to have that occasional teaspoon of sugar, is there such a thing as a healthy sugar? I want to know the difference between white sugar and brown sugar. Let's face it, artificial sweeteners do taste quite different from the real deal. So, if I still want the occasional teaspoon of sugar, I wonder which among all the various varieties of regular sugar, from white, brown, raw, palm, coconut, and cane, will wreak the least amount of damage on my health? Helping me decide is Professor Yang Hongshun. He has studied sugar for over 7 years. I want to know the difference between white sugar and brown sugar.
Actually, white sugar and brown sugar are from raw material, sugar cane or sugar beet. White sugar means that it's purified one. And then the brown sugar, you can have two methods to get it. One is that you get the raw sugar and then you boil it. You use a cooking process and then you evaporate some of the moisture part, the water part. Another one is that once you get purified white sugar and then you introduce the molasses, then you can get this kind of brown sugar.
Is brown and raw sugar healthier than white sugar?
In general, for most of us, if we consider calories, I don't think there are big difference between these two.
Okay, so I've seen cane sugar in supermarkets. What does that mean?
If you say cane sugar, white sugar, they're just one category of the white sugar.
Well, let's move on now to palm sugar. What is palm sugar?
So palm sugar means that it's from the plant that is a palm. Palm sugar is from the sap of this kind of tree.
Right.
Yes.
And what is coconut sugar then?
Yes, coconut is another tree, right? Coconut sugar actually is from the flower of this kind of coconut tree. So it's from a different kind of plant.
So then are palm sugar and coconut sugar better in terms of calories?
So from the current viewpoint, from the market value, normally it's around 10% difference or 5% difference. The sugar level is not as high as white sugar. So then if you want to achieve the same sweetness level, you may need to consume a little bit more.
So if I want to lose weight or if I'm a diabetic, are my only options non-caloric sweeteners?
That one is one of the choices. Another choices maybe you can consider, for example, sugar alcohols.
What are sugar alcohols?
Sugar alcohols. Sweetness perception is pretty close to white sugar, but contain less amount of calorie. In general, the calorie difference is around the half or 2/3 of white sugar.
These sugar alcohols seem to be the perfect solution. They are obtained naturally, and as I'm about to find out, some of these sugar alcohols have close to 0 calories. Some companies have already started using sugar alcohols instead of other sweeteners. But I wonder if these sugar alcohols can pass the taste test. I found a company that claims it can. Sugarlight uses sugar alcohols to provide the sweet taste to their ice cream. So I've heard that sugar alcohol tastes similar to sugar. Is this true?
The best way to find out is to taste it for yourself. Over here, I have sugared soy milk. This is sugar alcohol in the form of xylitol.
Xylitol, here we go. This is really sweet. I'm very surprised by this. So why is it so similar to sugar?
It's similar to sugar because the components of sugar alcohol are actually sugar. And it's made through a process of fermentation. It's an industrial process to making use of enzymes to convert sugars into sugar alcohol.
There are essentially 3 kinds of sugar alcohols, all with differing taste and calorie counts. Xylitol, made from fermenting birch tree bark, carries less than 10 calories per teaspoon and is as sweet as sugar. Maltitol, made of corn, has only 8 calories per teaspoon but is only 75% as sweet as sugar. while erythritol, also derived from corn, has almost 0 calories per teaspoon, but it is only 70% as sweet as sugar.
So for most of our ice creams over here, we make use of xylitol and maltitol, a combination of which to give a taste similar to sugar. And for another range of product that we make for the ketogenic diet, we use erythritol.
So when I go to supermarket, I don't see sugar alcohol on the shelves. Why is it so inaccessible?
There's still an issue of education. Many people are still unaware there are such things such as sugar alcohols out in the market. Secondly, in terms of education, the word alcohol brings about some negative connotation. People might think that you'll get drunk on it and it will not be halal. Sugar alcohols do not make you drunk and they do not contain any alcohol. We have actually applied for halal certificate with movies. So our xylitol is actually halal certified. And the other point on the availability is that sugar alcohols still cost more than normal sugar. We're looking at 5 to 10 times the price of normal sugar. But I'll say it's getting easier and easier to buy. You can find it in baking shops now, or you can order online from overseas suppliers.
So here's what I've learned. There are many sugar substitutes in the market. Some are natural, some are synthetic, some do contain calories, some don't at all. While they all taste different to regular sugar, what is effective depends on your health goals and preferences. As part of my weight loss goals, I'll be using stevia and a little bit of sugar alcohol to mask that bitterness every time I enjoy my morning tea.